Hello and welcome back to Holopon Solo Sagas. So today we are continuing with our 11th episode of Cyberpunk Red. We had last week was a big battle, basically the whole of the episode, a long episode, was a battle where the crew went to try and recover some evidence of a Caius, who is Miriam's arch enemy from her life path roles, who had set them up on behalf of a third party 24/7, a news reporter minor celebrity who wanted to generate some more rep for themselves, and so faked that their garden patch had been hacked by someone. Caius was the person that they employed to do that and make it look realistic, and so Caius just fitted up Miriam because Caius hates Miriam, just like Miriam hates Caius. Sadly, the raid on the bozos, because Caius was doing some work on the bozos, failed to produce the evidence as Caius got away. Caius followed the two bozo leaders. The bozos now don't like our crew. Had they escaped out the back, that was Scentwit and Finale. It was an excellent combat. If you didn't see it, you should go check it out. It was a great combat. We used a big 32-inch TV as a projector for the map. There was a fixed camera on the side instead of above, which the members won. I don't know if I can do them that quickly together. Also saw beforehand, I might try doing more of the floating camera than having it in one place, which I've done on previous combats. I think that is the best of the three that I've tried so far. But let me know in the comments below if you watch those three, which I'll put up somewhere or links in the description. Which of those formats do you think is better? I personally think the floating camera. So where we will be catching our crew now is straight after the fight. We need to do some stabilization rolls, because after every combat you need to do a stabilization roll if you took damage. So we need to do some stabilization rolls. We also, as I was thinking, just as I hit the record and the airplane started going over, we might have Timu attempt to save the three steel girls who went down during that combat. And then we can work out XP and we can work out what they can scavenge from here. So why don't we get on with that? So thank you very much. So again, if you're a subscriber, awesome for you to be a subscriber, and thank you for returning again for more Cyberpunk Red. If you have not yet subscribed, or you're new, or this is the first time you've seen my visage, then please consider hitting subscription and subscribing, and the numbers go up. I know I'm doing the right thing. At this very point in time, I'm going to pause and cut. I'm going to see what number we're at. We are 27 subscribers away from 2,000. And based on the fact when I put my first video up, which I think was July 2023, so July last year, I even said in one of the videos, if anybody watches this, it'll be a miracle. This is pretty exciting, and I find this pretty awesome, and I'm very, very grateful to all of you. So if you haven't yet subscribed, it would be awesome if we could hit 2,000. Do you know, I am 53 years old, a 53-year-old playing tabletop role-playing games on YouTube, getting 2,000 subscribers. I don't know, sounds pretty cool. Anyway, sorry, I digress with my ego. Thank you very much to the Adventurers Guild who support me and helped me buy that 32-inch TV to allow, well, I got it off of Facebook Marketplace. I mean, it's really good, works really well with the Arkham Forge software, which projects. So it's rather than a VTT type software, it's not VTT, it's for actual in-person games, so you can project to a screen. It even has a little bit that if you've got the right type of screen, it will do a moving fog of war. We don't need to use that because we're solo players, so it doesn't really matter, but it does help because what it means is you can use minis, which means you get to paint minis, and you get to own minis, but also you can not need to do either. You can put terrain on top on the members only battle, which you might be able to see some snippets of. Also, I did it in the first battle I used with the old computer monitor I had, which was too small really. But you're able to you can put terrain on top of that as well. So you've got the grid movement and you've got a map. But as a solo player, instead of having lots of paper maps, you can just have one screen and just project all the PDFs you're bound to have, as we've all got a billion PDFs. Anyway, first off, we are inside the Bozo's base, which I'll stick a picture up now. There's bodies all over the place. Some grenades got thrown, so there's grenades all over the place. A lot of those tables that you can see got shattered because people flipped them and used them as barricades, and they got destroyed. There's smoke in the air. Would there be the smell of cordite from gunfire? Probably, gunpowder and like smell in the air. Even though some of it would be caseless rounds, some of them would be case rounds because they're cheaper, particularly in the time of the Red. It would be easier to reload cased rounds than it would be to get hold of caseless ammunition. So probably a lot of firearms would have been modified back to using cased rounds rather than caseless rounds. Because you can do that yourself, cased rounds. You can't make caseless, well, I don't think you can. Anybody who does this stuff, can you make caseless rounds yourself at home? I would assume it would be difficult to set up because you can't use a reloader to reload caseless rounds, but you can for case ones. So there's shells rolling around, empty casings rolling around the floor, as Timu is now going to quickly sort out the stabilization rolls for the 3 of them and then attempt to do it for the Steel Girls, which might buy them some kudos so the 3 of them would count as mortally wounded, and he would have to make DV rolls to try and get them back up again. So first off, he's going to do them. They're all lightly wounded, so it's just a normal stabilization of a DV10, which basically means he needs to roll anything but a 1. So he's going to grab the medical kit off of Owen, because Owen carries that in his pack that he didn't use because he was too busy being gung-ho because he was up on synth. Also, just to remind you, Miriam took 6 gun, which she didn't need to, failed her DV torture drug resist roll. Owen took synth, which did help Owen because he could dodge bullets, and that helped Owen. Now Owen would have been definitely on a buzz because of being able to dodge bullets, which he's never done before, so that excuses Owen. And I don't know about Miriam, like though she failed that roll, I'm in so many split minds whether to give her another chance, because she didn't need to use it. She might as well not have bothered using it because she didn't find the bit, and she just used it because I thought she was going to go in and do hacking, but she never did. So I'm in 2 minds about that one. Anyway, Timu gets, using the med kit, he will crack that out, and he is going to do, what is his best? I think he's best at first aid is Timu. So Timu is going to use first aid on himself, then Miriam, then Owen. So himself, yep, stabilized. Miriam, yep, stabilized. Owen, yes, stabilized. So that's because they were all just, lightly wounded. Owen was down 2 hit points, Miriam was down 3 hit points, Timu was down 2 hit points. So they're all lightly wounded. Now, he's then going to go and see if he can work on the 3 Steel Girls who went down. Not like that, dirty mind. So he's going to use paramedic for this one because all of them are mortally wounded. Paramedic and mortally wounded is a DV15 to get them back up onto their feet again. Now he has a paramedic of 8. He's got Timu. Yep, Timu has a paramedic skill of 8. So 15s means he needs to beat 15, which means he needs to roll 16, which means he needs to roll 8s. So the first Steel Girl, starts to get to work. 9s, he saves her life and gets her back up. Second Steel Girl, he fails to revive her. Third Steel Girl, he fails to revive her. But he does save one of the Steel Girl's lives. Now, let's ask a question of our Oracle, which I need to. So I'm going to, at the end, when will this come out? Probably now. Probably by the time this has come out, I am working on, because it will be end of December, I'm working on a GME. I have already begun work on a GME for Cyberpunk. Not for Red, but just for generic Cyberpunk. I'm going to have a bunch of tables, some Oracle stuff. I'm going to lean heavily on the work of many other people and compile one specifically for Cyberpunk Red and start to use that within the games of Cyberpunk Red. And one of those things will be an Oracle. It will lean heavily on D10s and D6s, being the dice of a specific game system. And so we'll have that. So let's do an Oracle roll, in which case what we've got is low numbers is no. High numbers is yes. Mid-range numbers is maybe with a complication. So what we're asking is the steel girl we saved an important person? 25, it's a no. So an uncomplicated no at 25. But we did save a life, so they'll like that. So the next thing we need to ask ourselves is what in here can we scavenge and can we get together to come out? Now, one of the things we've got is John the Wise, his 3 Mook guide within the DLC that he released, which you can find on Altazonian's website, which I think I can stick a link up there, and I have done it previously before. These were all average goons, so they have possible cyberware. Now, if we say that there were 5 bozos went down, I'm going to roll 5d6 and we'll see what sort of stuff they've got on them, because the steel girls deal in cyberware. They are going to have no qualms of grabbing these bodies, slapping them on top of the table and doing some quick removal of stuff whilst we are trying to get ourselves together and work out what we're going to do next. Then we're going to have to roll for the next job. So what we've got 1 Skatefoot, that's nothing. 3 Pain Editor, that's not going to be very easy to get out. Talonfoot, they can rip that out. Anti-dazzle eyes, they'll grab the eyes out of that person. And in internal agent, they'll grab internal agent out. None of that is a lot, it's like big bucks. And so probably we don't get much of that stuff. There is a large amount of weaponry which is scattered around on the floor that we can grab and skitter together. Let's make Temu. Temu's very good. We're using Temu very much for all of these sort of... So it shows you that the old social skills are very important in Cyberpunk Red, because Temu is going to basically... Because this wasn't part of the Steel Girls... And no one mentioned the stuff they were going to find in this place. So let's say if he can haggle himself... He's going to persuade, and then we'll do a D3 low times 100, the amount that they can get out. If he can succeed in a difficult persuasion roll, we'll give him a +2. He's going to do a complimentary. What's he going to do complimentary? Complimentary human perception to see if he can find someone that he can actually... Oh no, he fails on that. So now he's just got a plain persuasion, 11s, that makes 20. 20 is a professional persuasion, so they can get this equivalent. Low would be, well, let's add them together, 700. 700 seems all right. What would 700 be? 700 be, no, it wouldn't be 700. So they're going to get 100. I did say it. They get $100 worth of, maybe they get some rounds, but the Steel Girls basically grab what's left. There's enough of them. They are going to look around to see if there's any evidence. There's no real evidence in here. So what do we have next? Next we would have them probably leave. They're dejected, they're down. Let's do our improvement points and then I'll tell you what they get each. I don't think it's going to be a lot. All right, instead of giving them 10, which is the group did not succeed in the mission but tried valiantly, because they didn't succeed in the mission, I'm going to give them 20, which is group barely accomplished the mission goals because they did get out alive. In fact, they dominated the combat, and you know, Owen did some quite cool rolls, and even his his fumble, the gun jammed when he had his gun pointed at Kai's head, point blank range, was quite entertaining and was really awesomely timed. If it wasn't for that, they would have got the stuff. So I reckon giving them 20 XP each is all right. All right, so what I reckon we're going to do for the salvaging bit, so they're going to have a hunt around whilst the Steel Girls are also having a hunt around this base. They're going to see if they can find any clues of where Kai would be going next. Now, they can't, because that's not what happens next is monologue is next. And then we're going to close, then we'll roll, which we'll do straight after we've done this. We were going to roll the new job, the next job, and then we'll do a closer for the monologue and see what happens next with climax resolution, which we'll roll at the same time, climax resolution, because they both sort of link. So we will have that they were going to scavenge around here. Now, first off, they need to make a perception roll. Now, based on the perception roll that they hit, we can give them a plus or minus to a, we'll call it, whichever one they want to use, whichever technical skill they want to use for looking for a certain thing. And we'll have different categories of things if they're aiming for specific categories, having a different difficult DV, and then you need to use a specific skill to find it. For instance, if you're awesome at firearms maintenance, you know everything about firearms, if you're looking for cyberdex, it's not going to help you very much. And it equal vice versa. Or you can just cover stuff basically, if you're going for technology stuff, type stuff, with basic tech, and it'll give you a little bit more extra. But we'll do that for, you know, like if, because plenty of times they'll be going into bases or they'll be going into a place, even a corporate floor of an office building, and seeing if they can grab any stuff like, is everything just cheap monitors, or is there anything good? Have they got any of the massive curvy monitors that if they took one away they could get, I don't know, 75, because this is the time of the red. The time of the red, your skills in demand are being able to fix stuff and being able to get stuff. We were talking about it, Mandy, just about general life stuff. So if the transportation that we have starts to fail even more, because there's all sorts of, if you look at different sorts of things, there's stuff that even piracy might pick up, which is the reason why costs are going up, is because it costs more to get something across the sea, because it's going to start getting more dangerous. Now, if those networks break down, what will be of a talented skill and a useful skill isn't being a middle manager, it's being able to fix stuff. If you can fix stuff and keep things running for people, that's way important. If anyone's read World War Z, not the film, but the book, the World War Z in the book, there's a whole bit about where they relocate people and they have to redistribute jobs, and those people who are more practical get to basically boss the people who were their old bosses, because they have practical skills that are useful, and in the time of the red, it's practical skills that are useful or what are of value. So Miriam, who seems to have some of the better useful skills where it comes to perceiving, picklocking and etc., is going to use her intelligence, because she has a high int stat, to make a complementary perception roll to basically point at some things that may be worth some money within this room. So if she can do this, we will go that this needs to be difficult. So it's a 15. She has an 11, so she needs to roll 5s to beat an 11 to give a +1 to the roll to gain stuff. No, so she being so angry at Caius escaping, fails to notice anything of value, so it isn't really much help. People like Owen and Timu are looking to Miriam and going, come on, is there anything in here good? And Miriam is just absolutely losing it, being really angry, which means it could be her who's going to need. So what they're going to, if they could just look for general stuff. So general things of value, we would go possibly that they could sell is tech, which again is Miriam, who's got a 12 for tech. So we could go, I know, we want some base level stuff. So if we say that we can buy something for 100, then 100 is about an everyday sort of thing, and an everyday is a 13. Less than that, which is a very simple thing, 50 bucks. And then we're going up higher, we'll go up in increments of 50 for each one of those tiers, for the amount of money that they can find with a basic roll. So this is generic stuff. So there's nothing specific. We won't like say what it is. This is just stuff that they can flog. So she is going to make a tech roll, get 16. 16 beats a 15, which means they get, they grab, I don't know, a couple of parts that will attach to a scanner, and maybe some other stuff that might be useful to some of the people that they know who fix stuff. And they just grab those, and that would give them 150. So including the firearms, and that means that they can grab about 250 worth of stuff whilst they're chatting and they're talking. Then they're going to have to go and see Crimson Shadow, because Crimson Shadow wants them to do a job, and then we will do the monologue. We will now, so Timu will say that based on the fact that everybody is sorted out, the Steel Girls are grabbing their stuff, Timu will see if he can get a ride with the Steel Girls, be it, they might have a van or something that they would come down in, so they would own one, Maybe one of them's a nomad and they would own a van, because that would be the only way to get hold of a car. We discussed this on the way to one of the gigs, that it'd be hard to get a car. And they'll get a ride back to the cybernetic eclipse, and they will then roll in to see Crimson Shadow. Crimson Shadow will thank Timu for saving that Steel Girl's life. They'll all drink to the death of the two Steel Girls and how much they hate the Bozos and how they gave the Bozos a good kicking. And them, a sort of a low-grade gang, were able to give a caning to a high-grade name gang that gets mentioned. The Timu, Miriam and Owen will use, even though it's a Tuesday night, and never on a Tuesday, they're going out, and they will spend their week's worth of entertainment money on that night, on beers and also drinking, which is where they're going to try and get their job. So Timu will speak to Crimson Shadow and remind Crimson Shadow about their job that they need to do in return, and then we will roll. And so I've got some tables that I've partially populated for generating a gig, and which includes tables for when the gig should be done. So again, all percentage based. So we roll percentage 4 times for the, well, 3 times, because we know who, it's Crimson Shadow. Normally on this table I've got who. So what Crimson Shadow wants them to do, and to who. All right, so I rolled. I will just do, I will cut that so you can see the dice rolls of each one of those. They need to escort an ex-con. So based on ex-con, we're going to say this is, maybe it's somebody who has done something in the Steel Girls and that the police are looking for them. Okay, let's ask is there a reward? Because we might hand them over to that police officer who we got to, what was his name? Pondsmith, Detective Inspector Pondsmith. No, so that's low. So very much, there's no bounty on them. But the police are looking for them. So we need to escort this person to a place in Night City. All right. Now, when does that need to be done? This is a D10 roll. 8 is this week. So they're in hiding in a safe house, and we need to get them out of Night City this week. So the next bit is, all right, where do we need to pick them up from? This is quite interesting. 65. Old combat zone. So they are hiding in the old combat zone, which means we need to get into there. So hiding in old combat zone, and they need to go to. So this is using the table of places. I don't know if I can do the table of places because it's using the names of places in Cyberpunk Red within the guide, but I can use similar names, I guess. That's how people normally get around that, isn't it? Haywood. Okay, so they need to go from the old combat zone to Haywood. All right, we've been to Haywood, so we know Haywood quite well. That means getting over the bridge though. So all right, so so they need to get there. So the police are looking for them. So what we'll do is we will say that we'll have 3 checkpoints, and then we'll have a variety of skills needed. So we might need a combat and social and hacking, because we've got those 3 people. So we'll do a combat, a social and a hacking situation to try and get them into, maybe to get them where they're going, we need to hack an architecture or something interesting to be able to do all of those 3 that all set up. Okay, so we know the next job that we've got. We need to go find an ex-con combat zone. That might be the combat part. Then we're going to need to try and hack. Maybe we're going to need to try and hack a car or a vehicle to get a vehicle. Maybe they'll tell us where there's a garage to get a vehicle, so we can go and hack that, and then we can hack the security of the vehicle. Yeah, all right, yeah, hack the security of the vehicle. I mean, we might be able to flog the vehicle afterwards, and that might excuse all this. We're not going to want to keep it because it's not going to be good to get caught with it. And then finally, we can have a social challenge, maybe getting into somewhere, getting across that. Maybe there'll be a checkpoint in because they are looking for this person. We'll get stopped in a checkpoint, to allow Timu to use his skills to get us through a checkpoint. And we've got a combat at the beginning to try and get the dude into the car. So we'll have a vehicle hack, get the vehicle, then we'll have some combat to get the dude in, and then a social check to get to Haywood. There we go, that's all right. So next we have, someone says, so we're sitting in it's the evening now, it's late in the evening, we did the hit, we've spent the day, we've got a job, we've been drinking all day, we know it needs to be done within the week, so there's no rush. So we're sitting there and it's the evening of the 11th of October, and someone says, oh man, you got to see this, and shows on the streams where 24/7 is now doing a long drawn out monologue about the people who have hacked his garden patch, about how not only did they hack the garden, it's basically he's doing a piece on, what should he do the piece on? He's doing a piece on celebrity, basically naming himself as being this high level celebrity that everybody wants to be like. And he's saying that, so he's basically trying to increase his reputation, that it's really difficult because you have to employ solo, and then he'll show his solo and he'll say, and even your solo can get attacked for trying to look after you. And then there's footage of the combat that they had outside the cybernetic eclipse, and people are going, yeah, oi, Crimson, that's our place, that's out back. And then they're going to say, and then people will even try and attack your technical support staff who are just helping get information for a story. And it's going to show the crew going into the Bozo attack just this morning, and show Caius escaping, and then he's going 24/7 is going to interview Caius for a bit, who is going to be saying that there's this rubbish hacker, and all of 24/7's golden patch is going to be so well secured now that no one's going to be able to get in. So Miriam is going to lose rep because of this. So because of this, Miriam loses rep, and people are basically having a laugh at Miriam's expense. So Miriam's rep is going to go from 1 to -1. So Miriam is going to need to do some hacking, which means that she's definitely going to want to succeed at doing a hit on wounds, whatever, and we'll make it slightly difficult. She is going to want to improve her interface skill as soon as possible, which means she's going to need another 170 XP, I think. And so 24/7, this is the monologue part of the final development of our 3-phase beats, drum sound process for generating the stories. So he's done that and calls out Miriam. So Caius calls out Miriam, and so we're going to try and write Caius into the next arc. So then we have that reoccurring villain type feeling. Okay, so next we want to know, because we've got that, so what is our final climax or resolution? So final climax, D10. Oh, it's a final battle, a final revelation, or a final act. Okay, so D10, we've got 7 final act, and then we have a D100 resolution. So we want to, let's see what final act would be. All right, and then we're going to roll. So he's called them out, said all this stuff about Miriam. So then we need a resolution. So final act is, the final act might involve fights or obstacles. They aren't the main focus. Instead, the focus should be on how the pieces of the plan come together to help the edge runners complete the job. All right, that might have been our last thing. 49 gives us edge runners escape. Right, fine. In which case, we have had our resolution. This arc is resolved. So we're basically going to say that the final act with edge runners escaping is that they technically have escaped. So no one has basically hurt them. No one's done anything deadly. Miriam's reputation, Miriam's the only one who's been called out, though they've all been shown on film. And they've been dropped slightly in that final act that will round out that arc with, so that bit might need some tweaking. that they round out the final part of that arc of that story with the fact that I wonder if we can tie in this collecting this con with the hook for a new arc. So we're going to be drinking and signing off and sighing the fact that we got away with that reasonably close, and like Timu's going to say, yeah, but our rep is like nothing at the moment. We've got to pick up our rep a bit. We're never going to move on if we don't pick up our rep a bit. So we will now think about our next. So that is the closing arc. So next we want our next hook. So what would be the next hook that we will wrap into that next adventure and see if we can get that to be something bigger than it is. What hook can we use? 43. 43 is kidnapped. Oh, well, kidnapped. All right, kidnapped. All right, how about what we'll do is, so the hook, which is kidnapped, is this person that we're going to go and pick up, they are going to be kidnapped by the bozos. So the bozos, who don't like the Steel Girls now, because the Steel Girls hit on them, is going to want revenge, is going to find out that they have this person that they need to ship out because they're going to get arrested. The bozos are going to get there first in the combat zone, and the bozos are going to try and kidnap this person. Now this will be a short arc, because basically the arc of this is getting the person to the place in Haywood and dropping them off. So if we've got the hook is kidnapped, do we want a development first, or do we want a cliffhanger first? Maybe a development first. We'll do a development 1 first. Let's work out what our development is going to be from kidnapped and see if it works. 23 framed. No, we did that last time. We're not doing that one again. 28 hazardous quest. Okay, hazardous quest is what we've been given, which is, all right, so we've got a hazardous quest because we've got going into the combat zone. So hazardous quest would be, we're going into the combat zone because that's hazardous, and we can throw in lots of little minor punks to deal with. So it's going to be hazardous to us. So then we'll have cliffhanger 1 that we'll deal with. So we're going to go in. We're going to throw in some random hazardous encounters. So we'll roll 3 encounters before we then find out that he's been kidnapped. So we can roll that and know that's going to happen. And then we want a cliffhanger. 53. 53 is duel. All right. Well, cliffhanger duel. We can do that. We can arrange that. All right. We'll do that story-wise. So story-wise, this works out as going in to the combat zone to try and find where that dude is, which we should be able to find quite easy. Before that, we're going to need to get a car, which means we need something for Miriam to hack. So we know this is happening. So this isn't your traditional roll as you go, be a surprise. We're creating a story. That's what I want to do with this, is create a cyberpunk story. Basically, I want to be a cyberpunk DM, but I haven't got a group. And so I'm creating a story where I'm going to make the players go hack a car. Then they're going to try and get into the combat zone. To get into the combat zone, we're going to make that hazardous. And we're going to throw at least 3 little mini encounters that they're going to have to resolve. Maybe Timu is going to be able to do some social engineering. And then one of that final, or a 4th one, we're going to have some big fella call out Owen for a duel, and we'll do a hand-to-hand combat between Owen and this person as an actual duel, and we'll find out what will happen after that at that point. So that is what we will start doing next session, as the team are going to get themselves prepared and equipped to then go off and do this what seems to them to be a simple job, but we know is going to get increasingly complicated before they're able to drop off this ex-con, find him first and then dropping him off in Haywood. So that's finding him, and then they're going to have clues to go through the combat zone to try and find, which is the hazardous quest. So 3 things to go and find where the dude is. Then the dude is being protected by someone who is the hand-to-hand person, and that's where they get him. So that's like a short set of beats. So that's a short beats. So basically we're throwing this in to the job, and it's just a short one loop, a little arc, and then we'll do a big one afterwards after we drop the dude off. Yeah, that works. Cool. Okay, thank you. So hopefully that's all right, and that sort of leads. So more, this is using tools for me to be a Cyberpunk DM again, but for a group of one. Thank you very much for watching. If you are not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. If you are a subscriber, you are so awesome. I've not said this in ages, but you're beautiful. You're amazing. You really are. All it took was clicking that, making the thing go bright and confetti, and you just elevated. Total, like, unbelievable. Mind-blowing. So, but, I mean, I know how good you are and how fantastic you are, but I'm afraid the Adventurers Guild, they glow. Angelic, almost, if you believe in such things. Angelic, or aliens. I believe in aliens. Angelic. Unbelievable. Adventurers Guild. And all they did was hit the join button, or that little thing there. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your time. Solo game the way you want a solo game. Play the way you want to play. Create the way you want to create. Keep your mind open to new things and new options. Grab them when they come your way and make the most of your time the best you can. I will see you next week.